Well, I've never seen anything like this in over 40 years of polling. The Democratic Party ratings have collapsed from like a 47% favorable down to 29, 27 in some of these polls. And that's an incredible loss of moderate working class voters. Those kinds of voters that the Democratic Party needs to win elections, and it's being shrunk to a base of left-wing advocates like Bernie Sanders and AOC who are touring the country carrying the Democratic banner. That's not helping.
Yeah, well, it's helping one party.
The Democrat Party is falling on hard times, and that, of course, is because a lot of the reasonable, working class, everyday, normal American voters who used to identify as Democrat have fled the party, and that's because they recognize it's been taken over completely by the radical left. People who don't believe in the rule of law, people who don't believe in secure borders, people who don't believe in locking up criminals and deporting criminal illegal aliens, all right? This is where we're at. And, of course, this is put even further on display from the left not understanding that violent protest is not really protest, and all it does is drive voters away from you. And that's exactly what we're going to see discussed today over on Fox News The 5. But before we get to these clips, don't forget to like and comment on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
Dylan Mulvaney, a single trans influencer who was on a single can of beer for months. And that can of beer set the conservative movement on proverbial fire, rooting against at least half an American company, the Anheuser-Busch side of things. Kid Rock out there doing target practice with Budweiser cans, people vowing to decimate that brand. And Dylan Mulvaney has much less of an impact on people's lives than Elon Musk does. So is that okay? Or that was wrong too, and everyone wants to mea culpa over that? It was one can of beer with one transgender person on it.
No one was intimidated not to buy Bud Light.
Really? Then why did it drop?
No,
why did they lose market value?
Because it wasn't Dylan Mulvaney. It was the marketing person who denigrated the people who drank the beer.
Really, Dylan Mulvaney didn't get denigrated?
She did. He did.
Sorry.
I correct myself.
It's good that you
no, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's basically it. Also, on the Musk wasn't allowed to get the astronauts down. The timeline doesn't add up. This NASA administrator from last summer, Bill Nelson, said there was no discussion of that whatsoever, didn't know about the offer. And NASA officials have said that late February was the earliest that the crew could return without interrupting other scheduled missions.
Oh, okay. So they were just hanging out in space for 9 months.
Well,
that's all it was.
If you read articles about it.
Oh, if I read articles about it?
Well, what else am I supposed to do? I didn't call them up.
Okay. So they weren't stranded. They were just spending a great time up in space.
Okay.
You know, it was one thing to shoot a can of beer and another thing to throw a Molotov cocktail at a $50,000 car.
Yeah, last time I checked, there weren't conservatives setting Budweiser factories on fire. There were not crazed conservatives keying Budweiser vehicles or trucks around the country. That wasn't happening. But look at this. I mean, Elon Musk rescues 2 astronauts who are up there for 286 days, and this is how he's thanked. We'll light your businesses on fire. And the absolute absurd behavior of the left. He triggers liberals so much. I mean, to watch Tim Walz there talk about the joy in his day of the stock app. Like I pulled up the stock app on my phone. I'm not Nancy Pelosi. I don't follow it minute by minute. So it says welcome to stocks on my phone. On his phone, he's tracking Elon Musk. He's excited when it drops to 225. Well, sorry, Tim Walz, you're having a bad day. It's now at 235. And it's not just him. Mark Kelly, the supposed moderate, the guy who's such a moderating voice in the Democratic Party. Every time I get in the car over the last 60 days, it reminds me of the damage from Trump and Musk. Who gets in their vehicle and for 60 days, the thing on their mind is how much they despise a politician? This is entirely abnormal behavior.
Musk called Mark Kelly an American hero, a traitor.
When you've gotten in your car, I know you don't drive, you're in Manhattan, but when you drive. Okay, so every time you got in your car for 60 days, have you thought about how much you hate Donald Trump? I mean, that is
I mostly think about Moana
behavior.
Because that's all that we listen to.
Well, I love Moana too. But I would just say this. Libs of TikTok said you have a choice. You could be on Team Innovation or Team Destruction. Team Innovation rescues people from space and creates billion-dollar companies. Team Destruction burns down said factories. I will take Team Innovation any day.
So I love it when the left tries to do this whole moral equivalency thing between 2 items that are clearly not the same, right? Remember when the conservatives boycotted Bud Light because they put a man who thinks he's a woman on the label? That was insane, right? They tried to destroy the company. No, Bud Light was coming out and actually attacking its consumer base, saying they're a bunch of idiots, morons, cretins for not embracing the LGBTQ plus AII whatever movement, okay? They put them on blast and abandoned them. That is why their stock tanked. That is why they had trouble for years. Have they rebounded since then? Yes, because they backed off of it completely. And guess what? People went back to actually buying their product, all right? But of course, having a boycott is completely the same as going out and firebombing Tesla factories, Tesla charging stations, individual owners, right? All of these things are perfectly fine to the left, okay? We're going to go so far as to put up a map on Google showing the exact location of where everybody's Tesla is actually located, all right? And wink, wink, nudge, nudge, don't actually go out there and destroy these vehicles or anything. That is what the left is doing. And in their minds, they're exactly the same. It's like when we say, oh, you have protest, which is perfectly fine, right? Allowed by the Constitution, peaceably assembling and protesting. That's exactly the same as burning down buildings because you want to have a day of rage or a summer of love or some way to vent your frustration at a system that has been brought onto you by the very same people you vote for, Democrats, okay? That's exactly what we're seeing. And Jessica Tarlov over here trying to make that moral equivalency, as I said before, just basically exposes herself as being a complete idiot in this entire scenario. But thank goodness we have these panelists on the Five willing to pile on and say, yeah, that doesn't really quite add up. I find it funny, actually, how Jessica Tarlov is kind of like the inverse Scott Jennings, except for she never really has a good defense for anything that the left is doing because the left is basically at this point indefensible, okay? They have lost all reason. And that is why their party is totally diminishing. When you replace reason with madness, when you replace rule of law with chaos, that's when the voters actually leave you and realize, what the heck have we been voting for? Or rather, what the heck has our party become? So keep going down this rabbit hole, Democrats, because you're not going to find a bottom anytime soon. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me.